Yeah, so I founded BLNOA technology in 2014 with the idea of streamlining shopping.
Welcome back to another episode of Gaining the Technology Leadership Edge. Today, I have a special guest with me. His name is Nathaniel Smith, and he is the CEO for BLNOA Technology. So, welcome to the show, Nathaniel.
Well, Mike, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to a very exciting conversation with you just around tech and leadership.
Great. Tell me a bit about BLNOA. What do you guys do?
Yeah, so I founded BLNOA technology in 2014 with the idea of streamlining shopping. I like most businesses, they start with an idea. And mine was to be able to walk into any venue of my choice, no matter what industry, and just with my smartphone, just a few clicks, and I'm able to purchase, search, find friends, change the music, so many other things. Just an immersive experience while indoors. From there, I've learned a lot about growing businesses from what is needed and some of the mistakes. So, we expanded into managed services as well as consulting and developing workforces. So,
So
guys,
tell
back
me a
to you.
little bit about that. Tell me a little bit about that, though. Like, how does that work? I mean, as far as making shopping easier, how does that work?
Well, if put it this way, it worked by getting no. So as many people told me no, what could have, what couldn't be done, what can't be done, what people won't accept, all of that. And I just went back to figure out what is ideally what's wrong or the pain point. So in the beginning, it just started by talking to customers. I will go to a restaurant or a bar, lounge, and I'll people watch, and I'll just spark conversations with people. And we'll talk about all manner of things from their work and what their favorite foods are, all that. Uh, and, I'll just pitch them my idea on the product that I was bringing out. Now, this is 2012, 2011. So this is over a decade ago. And from there, I'll tell people like, hey man, it would be dope if we had this experience. And they're like, yeah, man, let's do it. And I was like, sure, it's right here. And I'll show them all about the functionality. Now, the way the system works is it uses mesh networks to locate customers and products indoors. So you're able to identify not only the services and products that are around you, but you can find a staff member, you can find any other individual who basically has a smartphone. And on top of that, there's payment functions, there's loyalty functions, messaging, endless aisles of goods and services. So you think about it from this way. For me, it's everybody's a customer. I want to be able to provide all of the available information to the customer that I'm talking to that's in front of me. And I think with AI and machine learning, we tend to focus more so on the machine and not the actual person. The whole point of the machine is to allow us to remove the barriers of to making a sale, to closing in on what that customer need is. So once you remove all the barriers, whether it's logistics or whether it's the experience that the customer it is, once you provide the experience and you remove those barriers, you're really just talking to a human being. And you know, I'm a very likable person. So once I applied that concept to things, it allows me to really get down to what the pain point the customer is talking about, what the things that they're facing, and what those the ideal situation that will make their business grow, whether they're closing in or how they're going to position their business in the marketplace. So ultimately, yeah, I mean, kind of a long-winded question, but it all started just by trying to bring in an experience. Uh, and that experience for me was just a seamless interaction. I love going to clubs and bars when I was younger, and I did not want to stand in line. I wanted to be with my friends, and I did not want to be at the bar. just waiting for an order to be processed or someone to come process my order. So it just came down, hey, I can sit here at the dance floor at the table with my smartphone, open it up, go to my application, hit a button to let the business know that I'm there, and they can triangulate where I am indoors. And as long as my order is open, and my tab is open, they're able to locate me no matter where I am in the store. As long as I'm on the sales floor or on the business, then I will be able to get access to services.
So prior to having you on, I looked through your website a little bit, and you have a thing in there called BLNOA membership service. Tell me about that. How does that
Yeah,
work?
so what I've learned is, and for most business owners, we're all looking for an affordable way to get things done. And the membership services really walks those business owners because one of the things that I take pride in is when I meet and talk to business owners, those who've been doing what they've been doing for 20 and 30 and 40 years. To me, I've been running my business for a little over 10. So when I hear 20 and 30, 40 years, I'm like, man, that's what I want. I want to be able to run my business that long. I want to be able to provide a need to the community, to the marketplace. So with the membership services, what we have learned is many people have a tough time grasping how technology is integrated. You see a lot of things in society, and marketing tells us one thing. Marketing can be anything. It's PR. It's just perception. But the way things work is a whole different story. So the membership, what it does is it walks users through or business owners through the process of what it means to start, run, or expand a business. So the machine itself is actually an AI that learns from the customer's visits. So the more they visit the site, it allows me to understand what they're looking for. Um, so as much as I say with heat mapping and indoor shopping, I can provide endless hours of goods and services. But ultimate things is getting the customer to create a profile. So what the membership services does is it remembers the customers, um, you know, issues that they're facing. Because every time I use a tool, of course, I'm looking for one particular product. And from there, I just pull it off the shelf and I launch it. For a customer, it may be, you may need a server, but you may also need other databases and other computing power that they may not know of. And ultimately, you don't want to waste your money. And I don't like customers to waste their money. I want them to be able to use the tools and the things that they need to get done. So ultimately, what the membership does, it walks customers through certain service levels. So dealing with APIs and dealing with other databases and how to host those services and how to secure those services as well. All that good jazz, being compliant, down to training, hiring, all that stuff is built into the membership services. So, instead of you going back, as I used to tell individuals about 5, 6 years ago, uh, of course you can buy your services one by one. You know, you can, if it's a vehicle or some sort, of course you need the main components, transmission, engine, you need steering wheel, you need brakes and whatnot. But instead of going through it one bit by bit, uh, whether it's, learning how to steer, start, register, anything like that, sell, purchase, you, you would like to have the information all that you need to make proper decisions. And if you need a server, but you don't need the massive computing power, um, but yet again, you're having instance running and they're not being used, that can bleed into the business. So it's about efficiencies. So the membership really allows us to understand who the customers are. So we have investor memberships services as well. We have a lot of entrepreneur membership services, which really just outlines the map of where they want to be. So the machine is really mapping the progress. So with the basic membership services, those is looking to just start a business, learn about what is needed for starting a business. The basic membership service can outline that path. Same when it comes to investing. If you're looking for companies and products and services to invest in, well, depending on your tastes and your likes, the machine will point you towards companies and areas and particular businesses that your strengths are. So if you want to buy a business and you're really, really good at sales and closing, then you will like a product that really just complements your sales. Versus if you're dealing with payment processing and compliance and trying to really just build reports and understand what your ideal customer is doing, what the sales are doing, how long they're on the sales floors, and the foot traffic around it, how the customer engagement works, a whole bunch of things. Uh, these system services really allows it so that you can see the progression of the product. So it's difficult to explain at times because ultimately I'm trying to explain to you what a machine is doing at a speed
Sure.
that at times that I can't really comprehend myself. Like the only way I can do it is take a snapshot at the code at a particular time and then look at it and what it's doing. Other than that, the machine is making things faster reads than I am. It's making recommendations faster than I can. So the whole point, as I said before, is to get to a sell, is to get to that ideal paying customer. If you're able to identify the customer's needs, if you're able to identify the holes in the sales cycles or anything like that, there's ways that you can pivot, and the machine allows that pivot to happen.
So how large is your team?
So the team varies really at any given time. So ultimately, I have partners. I have partners that manage the software side of things. I have partners that manage PR. And most of this stuff is built into the company. So we have about 5 departments. And each department has a particular, I think around 10. So, roughly the size could be anywhere from about 15 to 60 employees. But that's the size of the team, though. So most of the time it's partners. We deal with a lot of partners. That makes things a lot more efficient. So, for instance, for financials or our capital management, those guys are actively looking into the marketplace and dealing with how to hold on to our capital. The other members are dealing with where to invest that capital, whether it's in marketing or building new services or even training. So the team has expanded over the past couple of years. Last year, we decided to build up a new training program that would really help individuals understand what a machine and machine learning and blockchain technology and how those things come together and how it comes together in real life scenarios when it comes to sales and marketing.
What's something that you do that's unique to BLNOA to keep your employees engaged so that they stick around? Because we all know retention is important.
Yeah, so number one has been challenging. What I've noticed is everybody wants to be able to continue to do things that are different. So we all want to grow. So for instance, I had one employee. I think it was started off as an intern years ago, and they basically helped with developing the outlay of certain programs that I had on my site. And they were a designer, I believe. So they came up with a lot of different things on like, hey, well, custom kids aren't and just kid. Just like, people they love the idea of being able to purchase for your phone, mobile pay. Nowadays you hear it as Apple Pay, Amazon Pay, Google Pay, all those things, but we were the first to do it. So they loved it. From there, it went to, hey, I want to be able to tell the story for marketing and sharing. So to retain most of the individuals is you got to be able to put them in a place where they can grow and learn and gather new skills. Everybody wants new skills. And then as soon as you can't provide those skills, then they're going to go to another industry, another company that are providing that type of training and skills. So uh, retention on my hand, it really deals with just the excitement. We're working on a lot of things that a lot of companies are not working on. A lot of things, a lot of companies, for instance, you can hear about AI, but not many companies are actually doing AI. So, on our hand, it's when we say in the AI, we're talking about a machine that listens, learns, can communicate, can make recommendations, not only just for, you searching the internet, but buying products, like the machine itself. So when people see those machines make certain actions on things that are happening in the marketplace in real time, that's how it was for me when I was coming out, like as a developer. I love to see my programs run.
Of
I love
course.
to see the code and the machine does what I did. And when people see that their stuff is in use and is given a good, and people are giving good reviews and responding to it, um, it makes them feel like, hey, I was part of that. And if you continue to provide those experiences, uh, then they won't ever leave. They will continue to say, to give recommendations. They can continue to give their feedback, and they continue to request to work on projects. So that's kind of how it is. Like we get requests from people to work for my company, for BLNOA Technology, all around the world, from Europe, Eastern Europe, Asia, Africa. They come from all over the place. And it's really because they love that the work that we're doing provides a service that is not available. And since we created the technology, we have a way of how things should treat. And I think we just before the show, we were talking about whether AI is good or bad, and it really comes from the creator. Um, if you are a bad person or an evil person, if you're looking for ways to cut costs and cut corners, then your machine is most likely going to cut corners by cutting costs or cut costs by cutting corners. It may not be focused on developing a relationship with a customer. It may not be focused on understanding how you respond or how you act in certain situations or why you have that response. It doesn't, it's like, hey, whether you are with me or not, and it's going to make decisions based off, you know, a binary system versus like, hey, we're going to have a human response to this. We're going to understand that this person may or may not like certain things, certain scenarios. So we're going to create those areas where they can do that. So
That
yeah,
makes sense. That makes sense. I think I coach tech executives. That's one of the things I do on the side. And one of the issues that my clients have because they're always so busy and working long hours is a need for more focus. So what do you do to stay focused at the, middle or end of a long day?
honestly, um, I think the real question is having that balance. The focus is I'm always focused. My since it's my company, I've been running the business for over 10 years. There's always something to do. And and for me, it's that focus doesn't really come from just focusing in business, but it comes from being able to focus on what's important for you. Uh, you know, making sure you rest and sleep and eat and get exercise and have times with your friends. That's the whole point of developing a business or a software system that is able to allow you to launch many different services very rapidly, as quickly as possible, because you're trying to get to a need. And once you satisfy that need, um, you will have more time for yourself. And that's what I've learned just in my business. So for me, the focus really comes from just having a balance and boundaries. Um, so that can be from doing things that I enjoy. So if I'm having a lot of fun at work, work doesn't seem like work. It seems like
Makes
fun.
sense.
So um, anytime that work becomes work and it's a grind and it's tiresome, then that's when I shift my focus on other things that may benefit work, but it's also aligned with the things that I like to do. So yeah, I'm a developer by trade, so I like coding. So like, of course, I can debug and code, walk through the software systems at my company, or I can work through software systems at home that just do quirky things that I want them to do at home. And from there, that allows me to have the epiphanies like, hey, wait a minute, I realized that a command that I was using here, I can most likely use elsewhere that will provide me the insight. So you have to be flexible, in other words. You have to be adaptable. If you're adaptable, you'll find that excitement about a job that will allow you to stay focused for so long. Because there's times when I'm looking at something and I look up and hours have passed. So, and it's mainly because I'm solving multiple things at once and bouncing from multiple systems. I'm getting such great insight of the company, not just the product and the customers, but I'm getting so much good insight that it just keeps me head down, lost in it. And I think if that is translated into a seamless shopping experience where customers enjoy their shopping experience, enjoy the way that they can engage with other people and about like we're all very tech savvy. We love to be in our phones. We love to be on our computers. But if we're able to see the world not just through the lens of the camera, but see it more so like just information, data, like, hey, you know what? I can meet my friends at such and such time because I know at a time that they'll be available. So that's how it works. So, there's a time and place for products and services. If I'm looking for a particular product or a bag, and I walk past the doors of a store that I've never been in and never know of, and that store reaches out to me in a way that is, you know, catchy and through my own means, or what I've already explained that makes me happy as a human being, then you're gonna respond to it. We're all human. Computers are gonna say, hey, we're gonna listen to this report. Versus a human being is, saying hi can change someone's day. So we're doing that through the machine, really just with a human connection that really makes things very possible.
Makes sense. I mean, like for me, I run multiple businesses, and so like I'm always worrying about, I have meetings in the morning, I have meetings later in the evening. I'm always worried about giving my best, all the time. And so like I used to drink energy drinks and coffee. And it really got my wife concerned because she started reading about people
Mhm.
having heart problems from ingesting too much caffeine, right? And even though the doctor assured her that like the amount of caffeine I was taking in wasn't terrible, I started searching for a new alternative. And believe it or not, I found an alternative. It's called Magic Mind. And I just take it, it's a little shot about this big, take a drink every morning, tastes like herbal tea. It has matcha, nootropics, and what they call adaptogens. And it helps, believe me when I say this, it brings clarity and focus. Like I was shocked. I'm
Mhm.
super easily distracted. I have ADD and Magic Mind, it just keeps me focused. So now my late meetings are just as strong as my early meetings. And so I actually reached out to Magic Mind and they gave me an offer for my listeners. So it's a special offer. If you listen to Gaining the Technology Leadership Edge, you get up to 50% off a subscription in the next 10 days after the release of this episode. Okay, so you can either use my code at magicmind.com and the code is tech leadership, or you can go to magicmind.com/JAN gaining technology. You'll get the 50% discount. You can also go to Sprouts Farmers Market and grab a few bottles to try, but it's really, I'm shocked that it actually works. I'm not a big proponent of odd things like that, but it blew me away. So Magic Mind, give it a try and make sure you take advantage of the discount because it's everybody wants to save money, especially in this economy. So you made some great points about liking what you do. Like you talked about how you could put your head down. And I remember I was a software developer myself for many, many years. And I can remember putting my head down at like 5 in the afternoon while I'm at home, right? And it's like 2 in the morning before I'm looking up again. Time just flies
Yeah,
right by. And it's
yeah.
because you're enjoying what you're doing, right? Like there's nothing quite like someone coming to you and saying, "Hey, this doesn't work. There's a bug." And you're like, "Gosh, it should work." And you have to dig and dig and dig and dig until you finally find the solution. And it's just such a great
It's like a
feeling, right?
puzzle. It's like a
Yeah,
puzzle.
that's a good way to put it. It
That's kind of
really is.
how I look. It's a puzzle, and you know when I'm launching VM machines and I have things that are crashing, I'm trying to figure out what's crashing, and just going through do like, hey, you know what? Okay, well, I know this is dependent on this, and just looking at the stat and just going through what everything is going, it's like you're learning every new piece. And every time you're looking at it, it's like it's an understanding. So you're like, well, I know I should be getting this value out this function, and I'm not getting that value out that function. So, it's just the debugging process. It really is the debugging process. I love the debugging problems, and understanding what those processes do. And just even down on the code base, I started coding when I was in high school. So, I've know so many different languages down to assembly language, and I understand how computers communicate in and out. So from there, it's really just syntax for me. It's the language. I
Yeah.
think that just like other people and human beings, there has to be a particular environment in order for things to cooperate and work together. Things have to be, stable. So
Yeah. No,
yeah.
it's fun. Like I used to, when I'd lead a team, I'd have people come to me and they'd be like, this function's not performing correctly. It's not giving the right value at the end. And I'd always say, well, 99 times out of 100, you've got a typo in there. You've got the variable named something on the input, and then later you change it. Easy way to test it. Does it do any multiplication with that number? Yes. Great. Pass it as 0 and see if it comes back as 0. If it doesn't come back as 0, you've got a typo in there somewhere. But
Hmm.
let's kind of finish off. This has been a great talk, but let's kind of finish off the talk with this question. You mentioned AI multiple times during our conversation. So what do you think is the future of AI? And do you think it's a positive or a negative?
I always say that AI is only as smart as the user. And that's what I say. So it can be a great thing, it can be a bad thing. It really depends on the user. Um, I think a lot of people in the industry, tech industry, that is, when they're talking to customers, what I'm hearing is they feel that their products are trying to control them and not the other way around. So, you know, if some of the products that you're using, and this is unfortunate, that these are the times that we're living in, that people will buy counterfeit goods. People will buy products that are not good for them. People, that's, I guess, the human nature of things. And for me, you know, I feel that with the right team, the right solutions, people shouldn't worry about whether AI is going to be good or bad. I think it's bad if you have bad intentions. If you're a bad actor and you know bad actors, then yeah, it's gonna be bad. Because there's people out there who know what AI can do, and if they're gonna use it for malicious means, then yeah, it's gonna be bad. So I mean, regulations and other things like that need to be in place for that. I'll tell you one story, and this is very funny to me. I remember I was doing some marketing. I had my machine doing some marketing for me. It was going out on the internet. It was listening to what consumers were saying, and it picked up on a tech CEO who the customers were on their own platform was railing about. And in order to appease those customers, because they knew what those customers wanted, in order to get the engagement, in order to get the products in front of them, or to get their feedback, in order just for them to just have a conversation. Um, it aligned itself with some of the things that they were saying that it wasn't so nice. Let's put it that way. And I got scared because the machine was doing things that you didn't expect it to be. I think you probably heard of this with Microsoft and IBM, where some of their machines went off on the rails and started ranting about things. But I've noticed that it's definitely the users. It is definitely the
Oh, for
users
sure.
that make the machine do that. So
It's
I
still
have to shut it
ultimately
down.
it's still ultimately running off of software that someone has to
Yeah.
control and put rules in place. And like I see it with Chat GPT. Try to get Chat GPT to say something bad about the president of the United States, whomever it is. It could be any president of the United States. It will refuse. It tells you it's not programmed to do that. or they limit the access that it has to data. So you'll ask it a question
Exactly.
and it'll say, hey, my database is only up to 2021. I can't tell you about 2022. Sorry. They do that on
Hmm.
purpose. And I think that's why I 100% agree with you. The future of AI depends on the people who are putting AI products out. If you want
Hmm.
to be kind of, I'm just going to be blunt. If you want to be a criminal, you can be a criminal with AI. But if you want to
Yeah,
be a
yeah.
savior, you can be a savior with AI. I mean, too many people don't realize how much they actually already kind of interact with AI. I mean, look at all the ads that pop up on your social media.
Hmm.
Those are
They
there
just
because
don't
they're
talk to each
analyzing
other.
the
They're just not that
data.
smart. That's what it is. The
Yeah.
AIs now are not that smart.
Yeah.
And you're right. It is about what they coded to do. So like for instance, when Siri first came out, people are like, oh, you can ask Siri a joke and it'll tell you here, it's special commands like that's programmed to do that. So that's nothing special. Like you hitting the button
I
in your
could write a
car
code. I could
parking.
write code that does that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Easy.
like it's not difficult. You can do that. The difficult part comes in is if you're lying to the machine and the machine looks at you back and says you're lying. And here's the results of what you said. And this is why I disagree. And brings you back facts, not things that they made up or just cherry
Right.
picked. It brings back the information, use case, not because like we all know that you can make an argument for anything. Literally both sides can make an argument for anything.
Sure.
But that's the whole point of debating. So you want the machines to debate. You want them to be able to, you want to have that choice, that competition. And right now in the marketplace, we don't have competition. It's like I said before, many consumers are saying that their products are controlling them and not the other way around. From social media to the computers to printers, everything now is like, hey, you need a subscription for things. Um, and like I said before, our services, you may need a subscription, but the thing is, it's based off your behavior, your actions. So we're just here, just passing you the information. We're an information technology company. We're not here to make decisions for you, because people are going to make decisions regardless of what we think or what they say. People are going to copy things. People are going to pick up code, and I'm pretty sure you heard of regenerative AI. You probably heard of that as well. And it's really just copying a bunch of code from other people and saying we'll fight later on who actually owns it. And if your AI can't decide who to listen to, then I think that's a big problem. So, whether or not you're going to listen to an admin or you're going to listen to a user that has no credentials, that's the scary part. But that really comes from the companies that put it out there. It does something good for them. It's for their bottom line. And, for us, when we have customers all the way around the world, individuals who are willing to engage with you, it gets to a point where like we have customers, so we can't lie to them. And some people don't even see their customers. Some companies don't even see their customers. They don't see their credentials. They don't see where they live in. They don't see many things. To them, it's just they only see as far as the sell. For us, we see the customer say, "Hey, we can sell them on anything." And the reason why we can sell them on anything is for the fact that we listen to them and we're not forcing them to do certain things. It's, hey, these is what we have, this is the recommendations, and your choice, your life, your choice. So, but
Cool.
that's
Well, let people know where they can find you.
yeah.
How can they
So
connect
you
with
can
you?
you can find me at bluenovatechnology.com. Ultimately, you can find me on LinkedIn, mostly on LinkedIn. I do have other social media accounts, but tons of messages. I think the best place to find me is on
Always
LinkedIn.
better have it be in one place.
Yeah. So, and ultimately, you know, at bluenovatechnology.com. Every message that goes through there gets filtered. And if it's directly for me, it'll come towards me. And that's usually how things get runs for me. So, social media is good. But like I said before, sometimes, well, what I've noticed is a lot of uh, hacks and things like that come from third parties. So we tend to stick to our own services, process our own
Makes sense.
things. So BlueNovaTechnology.com is the best place. But if you would like to find me on social media, LinkedIn is another place you can find me.
Perfect, perfect. Well, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate the conversation and finding out about Blue Nova. For those of you that are listening in, thanks for being here for Gaining the Technology Leadership Edge. New episodes every Wednesday, 8 a.m. Pacific time, and they're also streamed to LinkedIn at that same time. You guys have a great week and hope to see you back next week.